Imagine waking up one morning in 1692, Salem, Massachusetts, and realizing your neighbor could accuse you of witchcraft, and you could hang for it. No proof, no defense, just whispers, fear, and the devil's shadow. This is the story of the Salem Witch Trials, America's first horror story. Salem was no ordinary town. It was a Puritan settlement, deeply religious, deeply fearful, and deeply suspicious. These were people who believed the devil was not a metaphor, but a real presence walking among them. In early 1692, two young girls, Betty Paris and Abigail Williams, began acting strange. They screamed, convulsed, and claimed unseen forces were tormenting them. Their cries lit the match. Doctors couldn't explain it, so the only explanation left? Witchcraft. The first fingers pointed at three women: Sarah Good, a homeless beggar; Sarah Osborne, a sickly outcast; and Tituba, an enslaved woman from the Caribbean. They were the perfect scapegoats, powerless, different, and vulnerable. The accusations spread like wildfire. Soon the Salem courtroom was overflowing. Ordinary townspeople lined up to accuse their neighbors, friends, even family members. The court accepted something called spectral evidence. If you claimed to see someone's spirit attacking you in dreams or visions, that was enough to condemn them. It was a deadly loophole. How could you disprove a dream? You couldn't. And so, fear fed on itself. Accusations multiplied. Trials escalated. By the summer of 1692, the trials had turned into executions. The first to hang was Bridget Bishop. Then more followed: Sarah Good, Martha Carrier, Rebecca Nurse. 20 in all would be put to death. They weren't all women. Men, too, faced the rope. And one man, Giles Corey, refused to even stand trial. For that, the court crushed him under heavy stones, a brutal punishment meant to force a plea. His last words, legend says, were, "More weight." Fear had turned Salem into a slaughterhouse. And still, the accusations spread. Over 200 people were accused of witchcraft. Some confessed not because they were guilty, but because confession was the only way to save their lives. But confession came at a cost. You had to accuse others. And so the chain of fear tightened, each false admission fueling the next. Families turned against families. Communities tore themselves apart. And through it all, the people believed they were saving their town, while destroying it from within. But as the months dragged on, doubt crept in. Could all these people really be witches? Could spectral evidence truly prove guilt? Some leaders began to question the madness. By October 1692, Governor William Phips stepped in. He ordered spectral evidence no longer allowed. The trials collapsed. Prisoners were freed. But for 20 innocent souls, it was already too late. The damage was irreversible. Families shattered, reputations destroyed. Salem carried the scars for generations. Years later, judges admitted they had been wrong. Apologies were written, restitution was paid. But could words ever undo the hangings? The Salem Witch Trials became a permanent stain on America's early history. A warning carved in blood and fear. What happens when paranoia rules over reason? Salem was not the last witch hunt. History repeated itself. In the Red Scare, when Americans were accused of being communists without evidence. In every era where fear silences truth, Salem echoes. Even today, the phrase witch hunt is used in politics, in media, in daily life. Salem may be centuries past, but the lesson is eternal. Fear can destroy a community faster than any enemy outside it. The Salem Witch Trials remind us that truth can be fragile, justice can be twisted, and fear can be deadly. It wasn't witches that destroyed Salem, it was people. People who chose fear over compassion, superstition over truth. And that is a story worth remembering.